Hey, thanks for clicking this video. Just a friendly reminder, this is a clip from my previous live stream. And if you want to catch me live in action so you can join the conversation, just remember I live stream Sunday through Friday. That's 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time. And I'm going to post the time right here because I know some people don't want to Google. So nevertheless, go ahead and enjoy this video. So let me make this clear, because on my last video about Zohran and Trump having their meeting, I had a few people say like, oh my God, why are you turning against Zohran? He hasn't even stepped in office yet and you're already, being all just nihilist and not like, it's like, no, slow down. Okay, please slow down. I never said not once I'm turning my back on Zohran. Not once did I say he's a traitor to the cause. We must exile him from the progressive movement. No, slow your roll. That's not what I said. All I said was from that meeting, not everything else before that, from that meeting was really awkward and more so coming from Trump than Zohran. I said it once before. I'm going to say it again. I don't expect Zohran to act like me, because let me step into that Oval Office with Trump. I ain't shaking no hands. I ain't gonna let his little Cheeto chubby little fingers touch me. Don't think so. I'm not gonna sit here and stand next to a racist bigot who doesn't have my best interest at the end of the day. Hell no. I ain't shaking your hand. We ain't best friends. We ain't friends. Best believe that. And when I step into a room, you gonna know that. I don't play that pretend for the cameras. No. But I understand and I concede that Zohran and other progressive politicians, they're politicians. So they have to work with these people. Regardless of how they feel on the inside about Trump, they know it's part of their job to sit there and have these conversations with them. And I understand that. And if Zohran needs to do that to get X, Y, and Z done in New York, the reason why he won, if he needs to do that, so be it. I get that. But we've seen crazier things. Yes, the whole Trump glazing Zohran like he was like his firstborn son. I don't know. It was weird. But we've seen crazier things happen. And what progressives are asking is, hey, you done called this dude a fascist. You done called this dude a threat to democracy here and abroad. You done called him all kind of names. You done talked about his mama. So now people are like myself, like, hey, yo, Z, hey, yo, Big Z, what's going on here? Are you now lightening your message? Is he not a fascist no more? Like, did he turn out to be an amazing guy behind the cameras? Like, let us know. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Mr. Zohran is on NBC, and they're asking these exact same questions. And here's a spoiler. Just spit a little bit. Here's a spoiler. He's still a real one. Let's go ahead and take a watch.
I want to speak to you more broadly.
Hold on. Let's rewind it. Let's rewind it.
And joining me now is the mayor-elect of New York City, Zohran Mamdani. Mr. Mayor-elect, welcome back to Meet the Press, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be back.
Well, it is wonderful to have you here in person, fresh off of your first meeting with President Donald Trump. He praised you. He even said you could do a great job as mayor despite months of a bitter back and forth. Were you surprised by the warm welcome that you got?
You know, I was looking forward to having the meeting with the president to speak about the needs of the 8.5 million people who call the same city we love home, and to speak, frankly, about the affordability crisis that is pushing so many of them out of those 5 boroughs. And I found in the meeting that I had with the president a productive one, and a meeting that came back again and again to the central themes of the campaign that we ran: the cost of housing, the cost of childcare, the cost of groceries, the cost of utilities. And it showed that this is an opportunity to now start to deliver so that people can do more than just aspire to struggle in New York City, but actually to be able to live there.
But did you expect it to be?
Now, let me just get this out the way, okay? Zohran, it's bittersweet, okay? It's a gift and a curse. Zohran is damn near the perfect politician. And what I'm saying is he knows how to talk. And with that, he knows how to dodge a question, which that's one thing I would critique is like, don't speak to us like that. Don't talk to me like that. Don't politician your way into around this conversation here. I need you to be honest. Talk to me like we sitting in your living room watching a football game. I'm like, hey, Big Z. So, tell me about the meeting. With you and Trump. And I kid you, it would be weird if he was like, you know what, despite our differences, we focused it back to affordability and what's important for New York. Like, no, stop it. Be real with us. But he's a politician. Got to take the good with the bad.
Just aspire to struggle in New York City, but actually to be able to live there.
But did you expect it to be so chummy? What was going through your head when you were standing there?
I thought again and again about what it would mean for New Yorkers if we could establish a productive relationship that would focus on the issues that those New Yorkers stay up late at night thinking about. Because so often in our politics, we try and tell people what they should be worried about, what they should be concerned about. But when you actually ask New Yorkers and you listen to them, you hear it come back to the issues that animated not just the conversation the president and I had with the press after our meeting, but frankly in the meeting itself. It was a conversation where we spoke about the need to deliver on this agenda. And I appreciated that when we had that meeting, it wasn't just in the Oval Office. He also took me into the cabinet room. And there we were looking at portraits of presidents of years gone by. And we admired a portrait of FDR. And in many ways, when I think about the candidacy that we've put forward, it looks to Fiorello LaGuardia as the greatest mayor in New York City history. You can't tell the story of LaGuardia without telling the story of FDR and the story of a relationship with the federal government that finally delivered at the scale of the crisis it was facing.
Well, okay. Great answer. Amazing. You get an A++ and a sticker star on your statement there. Boom, there you go. But you didn't answer the question. Big Z, what are we doing? You didn't answer the question. But okay, whatever. Okay, got you.
Prior to your meeting, I don't have to tell you this, President Trump repeatedly threatened to cut off federal funding to New York if you won. The president seemed to back away from that yesterday, though, in his public comments in that joint news conference that you all did. He said, I don't think that's going to happen. I expect to be helping him, not hurting him. Do you believe him when he says that?
So let me put this in context. And I see the super chat. I'm going to get to that. The $9.99. I appreciate you. Tempest. Hey, once again, I appreciate you, brother. But once again, let's put this in context here. Trump and his groupies literally threatened to deport the guy. They really didn't think he was an American or had the ability to run for mayor. They questioned everything from his daddy to his mama. They said that he would cheer if another 9/11 happened. Trump said he's going to cut all funds and labeled him a communist and that he's a threat to democracy. He doesn't say, hey, man, I hate his haircut and I see that bald spot right there. No, this was way worse. So once again, he's a politician. He's a great one. But let's hear how he answers.
Expect to be helping him, not hurting him. Do you believe him when he says that?
No, I believed the president in the conversation that we had, and I will continue to make the case, both to the president and to the country at large, about the needs of New Yorkers. Because what I found, frankly, is that New Yorkers have grown tired of being asked to believe in a system that has delivered very little for them. They're tired of a politics that expects everything from them while delivering little. And what they want now is a politics that can see the scale of the crisis in front of it and actually start to work together to deliver on that crisis.
You know, you ran a campaign, though, saying that President Trump had not delivered on his promise of affordability. Did anything that happened in that meeting make you think, yes, he can deliver on that promise for Americans, for New Yorkers?
Well, I spoke to the president about the fact that while our campaign technically began on October 23rd last year, for many people, they became aware of it after the president won his election. And when I went out and spoke to New Yorkers, asking them who did they vote for and why, in two neighborhoods that swung most significantly towards the president. This was Fordham Road in the Bronx, Hillside Avenue in Queens. And I shared with the president that when I asked those New Yorkers why did they vote for the president, they told me again and again it was cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. And when the president and I were speaking, we were speaking about what is preventing from delivering on that affordability agenda. Sometimes it's a lack of taking on the broken system that we have. And I spoke about in New York City, for example, zoning regulations. We spoke about ULURP. This is a process by which you either approve or deny zoning changes that are made in New York City. We spoke about the need to change so many of those situations such that a developer doesn't tell you the thing more expensive than labor or materials is waiting. And we also spoke about the importance of understanding what it is that hurts New Yorkers in their pockets. It's their rent, it's their childcare, it's their utilities, and it's their childcare. Because the childcare, I say twice, because it is the second.
Okay, so it's confusing, and I understand. I think we all know and understand that Trump is not about that life. He is not about affordability. Like if you are naive to believe that, I guarantee you're a Trump supporter. Like that simple. You damn well know that Trump is not about that life. And when it comes to affordability, a lot of the roadblocks, a lot of the obstacles that he's talking about has to do with people essentially who support Trump. Millionaires and billionaires, business owners, the elites, greedy, the wealthy. They support Trump. So I want to say I know what Zohran wants to do. Of course, he can't say, hey, F Trump, Trump can kiss my brown behind, because you're only going to cause more friction for yourself. You already have an uphill battle. Don't make it worse for yourself, but stand on business at the end of the day. And that's what he's implying. He's not saying, nah, Trump is not a fascist. Trump is a great guy like Bill Maher. Bill Maher is trash. So I understand, and I'm pretty sure Zohran understands Trump is not going to help him. Trump is not going to roll out the red carpet and say, hey, whatever you want to do in New York, I'm going to help you. No, at the end of the day, Trump is a failed businessman, but he's a businessman. He's going to cater to those who pay millions upon millions of dollars to him and his family. That's where his loyalty lies at the end of the day. So right now, in my, perspective, this is Zohran saying, hey, let me make this as easy as possible for myself. You know what I'm saying? If I got to shake the dude's hand, if I got to say, hey, we're going to make New York better, then I'm going to say we, him and Trump. But he knows that Trump is not about that life.
Highest cost after housing, $22,500 a year for a single child.
Well, let me ask you about the other threat that we heard from President Trump to send troops to New York City to address issues of crime and immigration. We've seen him do this in other major cities. Did you get any assurances in your meeting, Mayor-elect Mamdani, that President Trump will not send troops into New York?
I told the president that the cornerstone of an affordability agenda is public safety, and that it is critically important to me. And for all that has been said and all that has been spoken about, and the tens of millions of dollars looking to make New Yorkers fearful of that question, the truth of it is, in fact, that I'm looking forward to working with the NYPD to deliver on that. And I shared with the president that my decision to retain Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch is in large part a recognition of the fact that in her time leading the NYPD, she has driven down crime across the 5 boroughs while starting to uproot corruption that was endemic in the top echelons of that department under Mayor Adams.
And I'm going to follow up with you on your decision to keep Commissioner Tisch. But to this core question that I think so many New Yorkers are curious to know the answer to, what did President Trump say to you? Did he assure you he will not send troops into New York?
He told me that he cared deeply about public safety. I said I cared deeply about the same.
But did he say he wouldn't send troops?
What I told him is that what...
See, he's a politician. He's a politician once again, for better or for worse. Smooth or Brown Steve, you say he damn near Obama smooth. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. But that's a good and a bad, because we who like authenticity, who like that real talk, not that politician talk, that annoys the hell out of me. I want you to speak to me like we humans. You ain't got to butter all this up for me. And that's the Zohran that we know and love from the YouTube videos. You know, when he would make his own videos, you know, just talking to us. I want to hear that. I don't want to hear this. He told me, he promised. Like, no, we know Trump doesn't care about promises. Trump doesn't care about your feelings. He's going to do what benefits him and makes him look good at the end of the day. And when that happens, because trust me, it's going to happen, Zohran better be ready, which I think he is. But he needs to step up to the plate. Ain't no smooth politician talking. It needs to be action at that point. So
separates New York City from anywhere else in the country is we have the NYPD. And I trust the NYPD to deliver public safety. And to me, that is something that I know that they can do, that they have done, and they will continue to do under my leadership.
So he didn't rule it out in your meeting.
I made it very clear what we wanted to do was to deliver public safety and affordability, and the NYPD would be the ones to do so.
In that press conference with President Trump, a reporter asked you whether you believe that President Trump is in fact a fascist, a word that you've used in the past. You were about to answer, then President Trump sort of jumped in and he said, quote, "That's okay, you can just say yes. It's easier than explaining it." So, Mr. Mayor-elect, just to be very clear, do you think that President Trump is a fascist?
Okay, when I first seen this, trust me, I seen this like 4 other times to prep my notes. When I first heard this, I was like, you better take one for the team, and you better, a capital Y, yes, all caps, yes. You better not cower back now. Do not do that. I think if he would have said something different, this would be a whole different type of video. But let's listen to what he said.
Mr. Mayor-elect, just to be very clear, do you think that President Trump is a fascist?
And after President Trump said that, I said yes. And
so you do?
And that's something that I've said in the past. I say it today. And I think what I appreciated about the conversation that I had with the president was that we were not shy about the places of disagreement, about the politics that has brought us to this moment. And we also wanted to focus on what it could look like to deliver on a shared analysis of an affordability crisis for New Yorkers.
Now, you're probably asking yourself, hey, Superior, why are you so hell-bent on him calling him a fascist? Why does it matter? Blah, blah, blah. Let me break this down like a fraction, okay? I need you to understand. Once you can identify the threat as what it is, then you know how to handle. Then you know how to move accordingly. If you think, whatever's lurking in the jungle is just like a bunny rabbit, you're going to put your guard down. You're going to be like, okay, it's just a rabbit. Then next thing you know, a full out, lion, saber-toothed tigers jumping out at you. Guess what? You're not prepared. So if you know what makes a fascist, and we're not going to go over the definition. I did it like 20 times already. Go ahead and Google this. If you know how they move, if you know how they operate, and you see with your eyes, I got 4 of these things. If you understand it, then you know how to move accordingly. And I know Zohran's not no dummy. He's not going to sit here and, play patty cake with Trump. He knows. And that's why he said, yeah, he's still a fascist. That is important to me because that this is a threat on what's going on. This is not normal for America. I done read some history books. This type of dictatorship thing that's going on is not normal. And I need a politician who can understand that and not sit here and like be oblivious to what's going on. Call it it. It is what it is. Call a spade a spade. So thank God Zohran has the balls, the huevos, to say, yes, Trump is a fascist.
It could look like to deliver on a shared analysis of an affordability crisis for New Yorkers.
You've also said in the past that President Trump has engaged in a, quote, attack on our democracy. You've called him a despot. Do you still believe President Trump is a threat to the democracy?
Everything that I've said in the past, I continue to believe. And that's the thing that I think is important in our politics, is that we don't shy away from where we have disagreements, but we understand what it is that brings us to that table. Because I'm not coming into the Oval Office to make a point or make a stand. I'm coming in there to deliver for New Yorkers. And a few weeks ago, I was asked by a reporter 3 words to describe myself. I said, New York City. And that's what animated that conversation. How do we deliver for the people of New York City?
I think that some of your supporters would be curious to know. You say you stand by your past statements that, yes, he's a threat to the democracy. How do you square working with someone who you still think is a threat to the democracy?
Now, that's a good question. Once again, me personally, maybe not you. Maybe you guys are built differently, which I respect. But for me personally, I can't work with a fascist. I can't work elbow to elbow with a racist. Long story short, I used to do construction. I used to do asbestos removal. This young white kid walked in, our containment with a Confederate bandana. Me and the homie was like, hey, not in here. And we all black. We all brothers in here. We say, hey, you gonna take that off, or we gonna take it off for you? It ain't gonna be that. I ain't gonna work with you, and that's how you feeling. It doesn't work like that. So me personally, I can't do it. But that's why I'm not a politician. That's why I'm not in that spot right there. But Zohran, we gotta give him the space and the opportunity to try to make this happen. Maybe he goes at home and screams in a pillow and has a punching bag or something. But when he puts on that suit and he has to get to work, he needs to make it happen. So
I think working for the people of New York City demands that you work with everyone and anyone, and that you always look to find those areas of agreement while not overlooking the places of disagreement. And I think this was something that came up in our meeting. We spoke about immigration. We spoke about the fact that in New York City, we have sanctuary city policies that allow for the city to work with the federal government on around 170 serious crimes. The concern for so many New Yorkers comes about anything beyond that. And I spoke about the importance of us being able to protect New Yorkers, and some of the incidents that we see, they do not do that.
You raised the issue of...
Hey, once again, if you guys want to see the entire thing, go to NBC, go ahead and watch it. But the one thing I think that people like myself just worry, because we done had the Fettermans, we done had, I forget her names, Cinema, Kirsten Cinema. We done had the Joe Manchins. We done had other people be the spoiler for their own purposes or just to contain the status quo. We know how to, we just seen the shutdown. The Hateful Eight or whatever they call them. We know how these people move. So we don't want another Fetterman. What's important is transparency. That's how Zohran rose to popularity, is making YouTube videos, always on the ground, speaking to the people and being as transparent as possible. People respect that, and that's how you get the support of the people. But we need to understand one thing, and I'm going to say this every single time. Do not get comfortable, Zohran. Big Z, if you're watching, I appreciate you. Go ahead, subscribe, become a member, join the Discord, buy a shirt. But when you get in that chair, when you get into that office, I hope it's nice. I hope they renovate it for you. But you got to get to work. You have to get to work. Don't get comfortable. Get to work. That's simple.
See how you doing the pressure. Oh. Yeah, I've been been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra, extra.